One more piece of housekeeping and then we'll be able to begin.
Tom, did you spell grammarian wrong on purpose? Because that's exactly what you would do. But you did. FYI.
That's me.
Sorry, a cat decided to help with my computer.
An E is the I, or E is an A. Don't listen to me. Never mind.
Oh. Isn't that like a farmer?
A Marian? Well, that's supposed to be your sense of humor, so I thought you did it on purpose.
I think it looks good, Tom. I think it's spelled correctly. I don't know what you was talking about.
Looks good. I like it.
It's a made-up word.
It's a new good word.
All right. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It is time to begin our meeting today, June 25th, 2020, the year of the cat. I don't know. We'd like to welcome everyone this morning. And with us this morning, we do have a few guests. And before we begin our meeting, I think I would like to welcome our guests this morning. And our guests this morning that are joining us, I see that we have Linda B. joining us from Australia. Linda, would you like to say hello to the group this morning?
Hello, everyone. It is 9 p.m. on Thursday, so my day is almost finished, and yours is just starting. I'm looking forward to attending and enjoying what we see before us. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Linda, are you also a Toastmaster in Australia?
Yes, for 25 years.
Well, fantastic. We thank you for joining us this morning and welcome to our meeting.
By the way, there's no Australian accent. I'm actually Canadian.
Oh. Well, I am a fellow Canadian. I'm from Nova Scotia, so welcome. I'm transplanted here in the United States. So, we also have joining us this morning, Rihanna Rickner, traveling all the way via Zoom from Wheatfield, New York. Please welcome Rihanna. Rihanna, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We hope you enjoy the meeting this morning.
Thank you.
We also have another guest joining us, and I hope I pronounce it correctly. Is it Jith Raj?
Hey, good morning, all. This is Jitraj from India. And I'm a new member in Toastmasters Club. Just 2 weeks ago, I joined in Toastmasters. And this is a kind of the first international meeting I'm attending. So hopefully, this is a great kind of time for me. And I'm waiting for your show, actually. That's it. Back to
thank you so much, Jith. We welcome you to our meeting this morning and thank you for joining us. All of our guests that are joining us this morning, if you don't mind, if in our chat, if you're familiar with Zoom, on the chat button, just hit the chat button and put your name and your email or information, and we'll be happy to send out a reminder of when our meetings are in case you feel like you would like to join us again. And you're always welcome here at AM Lockport. So please do that. Put your information here if you'd like us to send out a reminder when we do it to the club members also. With that, we'd like to open our meeting this morning with our invocation. Our invocator this morning is Margot Sue Bittner. Margot.
Thank you. Good morning. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nourished over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn the fog so that we see each other clearly and we see beyond the labels, the accents, the gender, or the skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the sun be so strong that we will see all people as neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by the rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach ever upward to the heavens. As we say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Typically, to begin all of our meetings here at AM Lockport Toastmasters after our invocation, we begin with the pledge to the flag. So at this time, please join me if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the
Allegiance
flag
to the flag
of the United
of the
States of
United States
America
of America
and to the
and to
republic
the republic
for
for
which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
Thank you for joining me this morning with our opening. And we have our Master joining us this morning, Mark. I don't believe we missed any of our guests. If I did, we will welcome you shortly. We have one tidbit of business that we do have to attend to before we begin our meeting. Last week, we put our slate of officers forward for the incoming year. It had to be posted for 1 week. And officially, as of today, if there are no additions to the slate of officers or nobody opposed to that, I will open that up to the floor. If there are no opposition or additions, I will ask that we cast one ballot and all of our officers will be taking place into the upcoming year. So be it. Welcome to our new officer slate for next year. We will let everyone know who that is once again, once we begin later into the meeting. But we have our Toastmaster of the day, my brother, Larry, my other brother, Larry Aggart will be our Toastmaster of the day. Please welcome him as he takes over the meeting. Larry.
Thank you, Larry. You know, after situations like this where there's two Larrys, my mother actually wanted to name me Lorenz. And my father said, no, let's name him Larry. Probably saved me a lot of fights in the playground as growing up, but interesting name. But thank you, my other brother, Larry, for the introduction. It's my first time on Zoom as the Toastmaster, so we'll see how we struggle through this today. Welcome, everybody, guests as well. It's interesting, Australia and India, I guess our club is getting a bigger and bigger reach, which is kind of nice to see too. So I'd also like to thank some of the people that volunteered to help me today. That was really nice. I started out a little worried. I was like 7 or 8 openings and they were closed up pretty quickly. So thank you everybody for doing that. I was searching for a topic today to talk about, and it just kind of came to me as I was browsing on the computer the other day about sports. And I know it's maybe a little bit more, maybe a male dominated subject, maybe not, but what I've heard from a lot of my colleagues and friends is that because of sports being not being out there right now, that there's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of anxiety because there's nothing to watch. And for sports fans, there's no other way to cope with a lack of sports than by having sports. And of course, that's not here. It doesn't matter. It's high school, it's college sports, it's professional sports. They're still wondering if they're going to have a season for the NFL. I know baseball finally decided on a 60-game schedule, I think, which is, I'm hearing a lot of complaints about that for different reasons. I guess normally it's over 100 games, so it could be a problem. So, but if you look at our history, it's pretty interesting. We've gone through this pandemic across the world, essentially. But if you look at the history of the last 100 or so years, 150 years, sports has been a big part of it and has gone through a lot of iterations, a lot of challenges. During the Civil War, we had sports. During World War I, they continued to have sports. During the flu pandemic, we still had sports. All the wars we've had, the recessions we've had, the Cold War that we've had, and up to now, there's always been sports. And this is probably the first time in history where there hasn't been sports. And I think you're starting to see where people really enjoy to have sports around. And if you look at some of the research, sports can be pretty beneficial for physical well-being. They call it a salve that heals a lot of wounds. I guess doing the research, I never realized how powerful sports was. I just kind of did this as a lark, and the more I looked into it, I was really surprised how much sports has to do with our daily lives for almost everybody. So we'll talk about that as we go along. But our first job holder, who I guess cannot attend, but Kate is going to, I think, give us the word of the day.
Oh, thank you, Larry. My mom is on. I thought she couldn't be on, that she had an appointment, but that's later this morning. But the word is quintessential. quintessential, I put in the chat. So anybody is interested in how it's used in a sentence, it's even listed there. He was the quintessential tough guy, strong, silent, and self-contained. Quintessential means representing the most perfect or typical example of a quality or class. So you could think of an athlete who is the quintessential athlete of his sport or her sport, something like that. And again, pronounced quintessential, and the spelling is in the chat. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you, Kate. So make sure if you're doing table topics today or speaking that you use the word quintessential. The first thing that popped into my head when I heard that word was the New England Patriots, the quintessential football powerhouse of our time. And I say that not with a happy thing. Yep, thank you. Down, thumbs down, Kate. Thank you very much. I think they're done because the quarterback moved to a new team, so that's good. Anyway, so our master today is Mark Campos. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to our guests from across the globe. Today, I will be monitoring for all the filler words, the ahs, the ums. I might even listen for the dreaded so this morning. In essence, I will strive to be the quintessential ah master. And I've been paying attention already because I've had my share of coffee. And Larry, I have to point out, you are already at 5. Now look at the bright side of this. You are now off the hook for the remainder of the meeting. So the glass is half full, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, that's good to know. I'm already up to 5. I think I got a couple of so's in there too, and there was just a couple of there for the grammarian. So I'm going to be a treasure trove for all of our people today with jobs.
You did have one so, Larry, but I saw no need to pile on.
I can see where this meeting is going. Oh my God. Our next job holder, who hopefully won't beat me up too hard yet, is our grammarian, Tom Moran.
Oh, no, I won't beat you up, Larry. I being the quintessential grammarian that I am, I'm going to be looking for all of the words and stuff that really sound good and those words that don't sound so good, and like put a little bug in my ear. And then when you call on me at the end of the meeting, I'm gonna, what do I say? I'm gonna give my report then. I've already started, so I've got a couple of things down here already that I'm gonna report. So thank you.
Tom, Margot's in pain already.
I think he's just trying to make me feel better. So thank you, Tom, for that. I feel a little better now. Our quote master is Alexis. Do you have a quote for us today?
Hello. Yes, I have actually two quotes, and the quintessential theme of my quotes is summertime. One must maintain a little bit of summer, even in the middle of winter. Henry David Thoreau. And what good is the warmth of summer without the cold of the winter to give it sweetness? John Steinbeck. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Very good, thanks. Now, I don't have a jester. Does anybody want to step up with a quick jest? Look at those hands, they're all jumping up. Everybody's yelling, I'll do it, I'll do it. I have one just in case. I was actually looking it up while I was listening to everybody talk. So it's a short and sweet one. Probably Dave and Phil would like this. It has to do with golf. A father told his son, the time has come for you and I to have that conversation. Soon you will have new urges and feelings that you have not had before, and it will be hard for you to understand, and it might make you feel perplexed. He added, but don't worry, it's perfectly normal. It's called golf. God. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Larry, I could stick one in there real quick if you want another little one. It's just that this is kind of like a dad joke. What do you call a Frenchman wearing sandals? Philippe Falap.
I thought I thought you were going to rescue me there, but I don't know. That one might be
I can
worse.
see everyone got that.
All right, thank you. Two good jokes. Starts the day off well. Our timer today is Moklis Raman. Mr. Raman.
Good morning to the Toastmasters from around the world. Some of the places actually it's morning tomorrow. That is Friday. I think in Australia it may be tomorrow or close to. Timing is the most important part of Toastmasters meeting. Also going to the theme of the meeting, sports. In every sports, timing plays the most significant role. How many of you remember the Olympic Games when a fraction of a second wins the first place and second place? Today I will be monitoring this meeting for allotted times to the table topic speakers, prepared speakers, and evaluators mainly. Table topic is 1.5 minute minimum in this club. When I'll show the green light, and then at 2 I'll show the yellow, and 2.5 it will be 3, or it's 1:45 and 2 minutes. It's a little confusing even for me after some time. And the reason is standard Toastmasters is 1, 1.5, and 2. Second one is the speakers have different times, 5 to 7 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes. So at the allotted time, green will come at the first time at 5 or 7 or 8, and then yellow, and then there will be the red light. Everybody has 30 seconds cushion time. In this club, 15 seconds for the table topic, just so no differences. Evaluators is 2 minutes to 3, green at 2. This is good. 2.5 is yellow, and 3 minutes is red, and you still have 30 seconds to wrap up. And I hope I will be a quintessential timer for this club, although it's almost my first time in this club. Thank you.
Thank you, Moklis. That was good. Our gesture master today is Carol Ann Halstan. Carol Ann. You got to unmute yourself, Carol. Unmute. Oh my God, I'm doing it too. Carol Ann, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay, today I will be watching for facial expressions and gestures. And I know it is challenging in this Zoom mode for gesturing. But I will be watching Mr. Toastmaster.
And thanks, Carol Ann. You probably have the most difficult job because you're going to do gesturing and all you're seeing is a bunch of talking heads. So maybe we should all start moving around a little more just to give you some ammunition. Thanks, Carol Ann. Our quiz master today, Jen Zaplin. Jen.
Hello. Yes, I will be your quiz master, which is not a standard Toastmasters role. It's a special role that we have in this club. So I will be listening throughout the meeting and come up with questions at the end to share with you to make sure that you have been listening. And Larry, to your theme, I have been waiting for the day for pedestrianism to come back as a competitive sport. So I feel like now is the time. It's a way to distance socially and still get your sport on. So I'm looking for you to bring that back. And maybe that will be the new quintessential sport.
Very nice. Pedestrian. We could add that to the Olympics, actually. That'd be kind of nice.
It was part of the Olympics at one time.
Get out.
Look it up.
I'm making a note. Okay, thanks, Jen. Well, we've come to that wonderful time in meetings where we do table topics. And I don't know if anybody's been, by the way, been watching, but I know Eric Schneider is on, and he's been driving while he's talking. It just looks like he's driving angry. If you watch him, he's got that wheel going, and I don't know. Eric, you all right?
I'm fine, Larry. We'll talk later.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Table Topics today is going to be hosted by Miss Catherine Banks.
Thank you
Katie.
so much, Larry. Thank you. Good morning to our members and all of our guests. I'd like to ask our president, Larry McKenzie, can you drop the agenda into the chat again? Anyone who joined later can't scroll up to see that. So if you don't mind, can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So the topic, of course, being sports. Can we live without them? Gosh, can we survive? It's not something that I follow too much. That has not been a crisis point for me. I know some here are suffering deeply, and it's funny to watch some of the old reruns or see like the bowling and the cornhole tournaments and like mice races or whatever the heck are being gambled upon at this time. I don't have specific questions. I would like each of the Table Topics participants who I call upon to talk about the theme in the way they see fit, and be sure to use the word quintessential. And I would like to introduce a DTM, Dr. Gerald Stevens, as our first contestant or participant in Table Topics today. Dr. Gerald, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. In my mind, sports is definitely quintessential into surviving. I have been missing sports for sure. What version of sports is going to come out after the pandemic? Is it limited? Basketball, NBA in this case, has got a shortened season in regards to just having the playoffs. Hockey, same thing. Our beloved Sabres didn't make, even with the expanded roster for the playoffs, sadly. Our beloved Jack Eichel, one of the top 10 scorers in the National Hockey League, is the only person who didn't make the playoffs, sadly. So that led to a bunch of firings last couple weeks. And, well, maybe new days. We'll see. I'm looking forward to when football starts. We have no idea what version that will look like, sadly. In the old days, during the Spanish flu, they actually had people in the stands with masks. I saw a black and white photo. I don't know if that'll happen. Our governor's pretty strict. We're up to gatherings of 50 people as of the other day. So we have a lot more than that in the stadium. Baseball, 60-game season was alluded to. Hopefully, my beloved New York Yankees will reign the day and will be a quintessential part of the playoffs in the future. I look forward to it coming back, and hopefully that will relieve a lot of angst for the various guys and girls out there. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stevens. If our guest Linda does not mind joining us, I imagine with her extensive experience in Toastmasters that she has a clear understanding of what to do and use our word of the day, talk about our theme in any way you wish. And our timer, Moklis, has the colors behind him that he's putting, the green, the yellow, and the red. So you can watch Moklis. There he goes for your timing. Linda, would you be willing?
Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. Sports is not one of my great triumphs in life. Sports, I'm an armchair sportsman. And of course, with any sport, we do need somebody sitting in the armchair watching. So I feel I do contribute by watching. Now, what do I watch? Well, first of all, it's the Australian Open for January, which, hallelujah, we did manage to get it over and done with before COVID-19 arrived on the scene. In addition to the tennis and the Australian Open, one of my favorites is MLB, Major League Baseball. We do have a subscription for yearly attendance online. Unfortunately, this year we've just had our subscription refunded because there ain't nothing happening in that department for a while. Most Australians know everything there is to know about cricket. I'm not an Australian, so I have to bypass that completely and totally ignore it. Probably the same as maybe if I was in Canada, I'd probably not look at the one and only sport in Canada, which happens to be hockey. I know nothing about it. So maybe I just sit on the fence, enjoy my sports, tennis, and Major League Baseball, and leave the other weird wonderfuls to everyone else. But one more item, Olympics. We missed the Olympics this year in Tokyo. Hopefully next year we will get to watch it. And I'm sure everyone on screen today enjoying our meeting will be looking forward to the Olympics. That concludes my sporting expertise and the quintessential one and only Major League Baseball. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Linda. I'd like to ask our member, Tracy, to be our final participant in Table Topics today. Tracy.
Thank you, Kate. As Linda, I'm not that big of a sports fan, but the people I'm associated with really are. My son was always playing baseball and hockey, and my boyfriend loves to go to the baseball game. So I love following sports with the people I'm associated with. During this pandemic, one of the things I'm so glad that my son has grown up, because I think if he was in school right now and not being able to participate in gym or sports, not only would he be going crazy, I would be going crazy too, because sending your kid off to play sports, it just ran off all that energy and made my life so much easier. And your children too just need to burn off energy. So I thought that was, it's really sad that they're not able to participate in sports as they should. I know my nephews right now are taking karate on Zoom, and I have another friend whose daughter is doing gymnastics on Zoom, which is, you know, a way to get around participating in sports, but the quintessential way to be involved in sports is to get into the game, really run the bases or play, you know, hit the puck, actually moving and really running around with all of your friends. It's socialization. It's a healthy way to get along and burn off energy. So I really do hope that we get back to the sports. It's just a healthy thing for all of us. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tracy. I'd like to call on our timer, Moklis. How did our competitors do today? Moklis? It looked like everyone qualified.
Yes, the timing is for Gerald, 1 minute 40 seconds. For Linda from Australia, 2 minutes 14 seconds. And our own Tracy Farrell at 1 minute and 52 seconds. Everybody qualifies. Thank you.
Thank you, Moklis. And our Toastmaster, Beth. Mom, how did our word do so far? As you can just report on table topics and do the rest at the end. Oh, you're muted.
I'm maybe not as awake as I thought, but I'm semi here anyways. So it sounds to me, I believe all three used it, the word, and we're doing really well so far with everyone else also using the word.
Awesome, thank you so much. We also have two additional guests who joined us, but now their screens are black. But if you are here, Craig and Jay Sarathi, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Can you briefly introduce yourself and how you found us today? Let's start with Craig, since you popped back on.
Yes, my name is Craig. I found you on Facebook. Someone made a posting about the club meeting today, and I'm actually, District 95 is a combination of Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Germany. I'm coming to you today from Germany. It is 1:32 p.m. in the afternoon here, but thank you very much for having me today.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Craig, for joining us, for finding us. Maybe we can chat at the end. Anybody who likes to linger, we call it post toasties, and we chat if anyone is interested. Jay Sarathi, are you there? Well, oh, you are. How do you say your name first off, and then how did you find us?
Okay, you can call my name by Jay. Maybe that would be easy for you. I just posted in a post in Facebook, like I'll be interested to join online meeting, and I got help from Larry, who has posted this meeting. So I'm basically a member of Madras Toastmaster Club at India.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for introducing yourselves, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And I will turn the floor back to our Toastmaster of the day, Larry.
Thank you, Kate. And if you look at your screens, obviously you'll see a list of people to vote for today for table topics. So please, when you have a second, make your vote, which I just did, and we will continue on with the meeting. So everybody did a great job. So thanks for stepping up for that. I did not yet introduce the general evaluator, and I didn't want Mike to get nervous about me thinking I forgot him. I was going to wait a little longer, but I thought I better get him into the meeting quick. So if Mike, if you're still on there, you're the general evaluator. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests this morning. My job as a general evaluator is to, evaluate the evaluators and evaluate the Toastmaster and the overall tone of the meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, thanks, Mike. I didn't want you to think I forgot you. You know, it's interesting to watch Zoom, and as people talk, I know Dr. Stevens made mention of the New York Yankees, and I have to tell you, Dr. Stevens, that there were a number of people on the screen here that were making some various types of hand gestures, many in the negative. I didn't see any obscene gestures, but certainly there was a lot of negative angst there when you mentioned them. So,
Larry, I can do obscene if you would like.
Well, feel free. Maybe you better not.
I think Jay actually showed thumbs up for you, Larry. I don't know if you saw it or not.
It's, you know, the Yankees, it's either, yeah, they're the greatest thing in the world, or they're not, basically. So
Yeah, most people hate a winner, just so you know.
I'm sure that's part of it. It's, you know, with the Zoom meetings, it's funny that the new things that you see, and it just, as I watch the screen, it's pretty. Some people might think this is a negative with Zoom. I'm finding it's pretty interesting, some of the new things you see. Anyway, so all right. So why don't we get into the speaking portion of the meeting? Our first speaker is Larry McKenzie, and his evaluator is Dr. Stevens.
Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. Larry McKenzie is going to talk today from level 4 of Pathways, Leadership Development. This project is 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. And the purpose of the project is to talk about leading a small team and to share some aspects of leading a team. His title, Mr. Toastmaster, is It Really Worth Getting Up For? Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Well, I guess that's the question I'll ask, Mr. McKenzie. Is it really worth getting up for? Mr. McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This morning, I have the pleasure of speaking to everyone in regards to, number one, is it worth getting up for? Or if you're already up, is it worth staying up for? Because today, I have the privilege of being able to talk to you in regards to a wonderful year that I have had working with AM Lockport Toastmasters. And what I would like to do is share my screen with you here. I did hit the wrong button. There we go. All right. 2019, 2020, what a year. Was it worth getting up for? The answer to me, I'm not sure. Let me think. Well, AM Lockport is the team that I had the privilege of being the president of this year and leading our team. So was it worth getting up for? I believe it was. So as a Toastmaster, in order to know where we're going, we have to know, where did we come from? Where did we come from? AM Lockport began many years ago, actually 36 years ago, I do believe it was. But here's the question. When did AM Lockport officially charter? Does anybody know? Jump on, scream it out. Anybody know?
April Fool's Day, 1984?
Absolutely.
Yes, 1984.
Absolutely correct. April 1st, 1984 was when AM Lockport first chartered. Now, AM Lockport chartered on April 1st, but that was a Sunday. We meet on Thursdays. April 1st, 1984. That day also went down in history for a couple of different reasons. One, we lost one of our musical legends that year, and that was Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was killed on that particular day by his dad with a present that he had given him for Christmas the previous year. With that, April 1st, you would think, well, April Fool's Day, but not for AM Lockport. We had to find somewhere to meet. Once we're chartered, we have a club. Where do we meet? So the club began at the Best Western up on Transit Road. Met there for quite a while until the club moved to Friendly's Restaurant on Main Street in Lockport. If you notice the picture on the bottom, that was a younger, much younger Dave Licata. And we also have in that picture Margot. But in the middle, I'm not sure who that other person was, but I believe it was from a speech contest.
I think it's Tom.
Is that Tom Moran? Wow. Well, that is where our humble beginnings for AM Lockport started. Best Western, Friendly. Now, each one of those meeting venues posed different situations for our club. On our stage, how do we speak? The different ways that we're able to use the room. That all changed when we moved over to our current physical location, which is Tom's Diner. Tom's Diner, if you've ever spoke at another club or anywhere else, Tom's Diner gives you the biggest challenge as a public speaker because of the fact that if you look at the way the room is set, it's long, it's narrow. The lectern is set up in the middle of the long section. In order to present, you really don't have a stage. And most of your attendees are either some have your back to you. So it does pose a problem, but not for AM Lockport, because a lot of our members have moved quite well within that confine. I remember Marty rolling around on the floor doing some of his different speeches. We've went on journeys. We've went with Dr. Gerald. We've went all over the world. Jen Zappla sharing her stories of traveling. We've also learned how to garden. We've learned how to do agriculture. We've learned so many different things, and all in the confines of working within the space that we were provided, which was Tom's Diner. Also, we had some great breakfast there also, which made it worth getting up for. What happened? March came around. COVID-19. We're not able to meet where we normally do. Is that going to affect anything within our club? As the leaders of the club, we talked amongst ourselves and people were starting to do virtual meetings. Can AM Lockport do a virtual meeting? Well, we've had other challenges throughout the past. So what we did was we decided to, oh, wait, there was a challenge? The biggest obstacle was everyone ran out of toilet paper, but I'm not. I was ready for the apocalypse, but not our AM Lockport team. We were ready, we were willing, and we decided to move forward. And how did we do that? Toastmasters went virtual. Yes, we did. We went virtual. That is the article from the Lockport Sun and the Niagara Gazette. Let everyone know. We've also went online and let other clubs around the world know that we are online and we are running virtual meetings. We've had the pleasure of welcoming guests from India, from Indonesia, from China, from South Carolina, all over the world. We've also had past members that have been able to join us that they would not be able to do if we were in a physical location. So the pandemic caused a lot of problems, but it also was a wonderful thing for us because we're able to welcome new guests and past members to join us. Club and individual awards. We've continued to prosper with that throughout the year. And as a club, we have the highest honor is a DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster. How many DTMs has AM Lockport had to date? Does anybody know? No?
11.
Oh, well, who was our
10.
very, how about this? Who was our very first DTM?
Edna Stubbs.
Edna probably.
All right, I'll help you out. Here we go. AM Lockport's charter member and first DTM was Edna Stubbs, January 14th, 1991. Up till this year, we had 10 DTMs from AM Lockport. We have added 3 to that number. So now we're at 13 with more in the coming. And the 3 that we've added this year are Anne-Marie Lenhart, Jen Zappla, and mom herself, Jackie Kenny. How do you become a DTM? Well, those are our 13 members right there, some of them that have joined us as DTMs. How do you become a DTM? Determination and doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. How do you do that? This year, I'm proud to say that AM Lockport had 25 educational goals completed. From our club, we also had 2 area directors, 3 club coaches, and 2 club mentors. Toastmasters International also recognizes those Toastmasters that earn educational goals into what's called a triple crown. If you've earned 3 educational awards within that calendar year, you earn what is called the triple crown. We have 4 members of our club that have achieved that. Jen Zappla, not only 3, she has 6 educational awards that she has earned this year. Marty Johnson, also with 6 educational awards. Myself, Larry, I have earned 5 educational awards, and Anne-Marie Lenhart 3. In total, AM Lockport has over 300 educational goals that we have turned in to Toastmasters International since our inception. With that, this year, I'm asking you to please join me in congratulating our members and club of the educational and leadership successes that we have met with our President's Distinguished again this year. AM Lockport has achieved President's Distinguished for 14 years of our existence. We've also been a Distinguished Club 3 times and a Select Distinguished 3 times also. So congratulations to our club. How do you do it? The members. The members, we work together as a club. We do social events together. And throughout the years, the club has prospered because of welcoming new guests, welcoming our members, and also it brings me to this conclusion. Is it worth getting up for? I would venture to say it definitely is worth getting up for, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Larry. Very well done. And I think it's worth getting up for too. So I think we all share that same feeling. Our second speaker today is Mr. Phil Russell, and his evaluator is Sylvia Baptiste. Sylvia.
Larry, I think we changed that.
Oh, do we? Oh, I'm sorry.
Dave is going to be evaluating.
That's right. Sorry, Sylvia. Dave, are you ready?
Yes, I thought he was going. Third, but I'm no stranger. I'm flexible. Hang on. This morning, Phil called me about 10 to 7, and they asked me to do him a little favor to enhance his speech. And then I was named his evaluator. So I'm ready to go, even though I have no idea what educational goals he is searching for this morning.
I sent it to you in chat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, when you do this on your phone, Phil, you just get this little tiny half message, and it doesn't work when you're on your phone. And I'm on my phone, but that's all right. We are going to hear a speech from the man that brought me into Toastmasters, a mentor of mine, a longtime friend, Phil Russell. And the title, you have the title?
I do.
Great. Take it away, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Dave. Sorry about the confusion. Mr. Timer, the time
Yes.
is 5 to 7 minutes for
Thank
Phil's
you.
speech, and his title is Mentor. Mr. Phil Russell.
Shave and a haircut.
2 bits.
Well, this is the last time you will see the Wolfman, because tomorrow I'm getting a shave and a haircut. And one of my mentors really tried to make me look neat and clean. That was my father. Now, mentoring, and this is what I like about Pathways. Pathways is not asking me to mentor somebody. They're asking me to describe mentoring and who were my mentors. And I had 4. And I will get into those in a few minutes. So, there's a soap. Now, mentoring, and this is about AM Lockport Toastmasters as well. Mentoring is basically helping each other out. Dave helped me out this morning. Dave, I knew, was the quintessential, what would you say? He knows every bit of trivia out there and goes back into media. And that's why I called him and asked him to do the other part of the bit. And so that was just to wake you up and see how you're doing. Now, mentoring in Toastmasters, especially AM, everyone helps each other out. That's what mentoring is. Now, people have told me I should be standing for this speech. Well, I've been running around like with a cat with my head cut off, but it's just crazy. So what I did, I'm going to talk about my 4 mentors. My 4 mentors, we're going to start with my father. He didn't give me a lot of orders. I had to do as I was told. The one thing that I remember most was this. I was sitting in a police station. We were picked up for maybe breaking windows, maybe running through a vacant house, doing something kids do. What I remember most was, especially because my uncle was the chief of police, he came up to me when he got me out and he said, "I get that call again. You're not getting out." I remembered that. That's serious stuff right there. That was important. And that's how he taught me. I worked in the gas station for years. Since eight years old, I've been pumping gas. And he just showed me the way to do it. And it was interesting. And I learned a lot from that. Now, my second mentor was my high school football coach. I also worked for him. I was his coach, assistant coach, and it was interesting. When you mention sports is a very important thing. Now, Les was a World War II vet. He was on Peleliu, and he got the Bronze Star on Okinawa. And he told me this: football, American football, won World War II. And it was amazing because he taught us motivation and teamwork. He showed us how to work together. We weren't that big, but we could overcome any obstacle we wanted to. It was amazing. So he was my second mentor, and he was great. My third mentor, also a veteran of World War II, being in the Coast Guard, but not coast guarding our coast guarding in the Philippines with a little PT boat going against big Japanese destroyers. Quite an experience. What did he teach me? Well, he was a football coach. I got sick. I decided to try Arizona. I went out to Arizona. I coached there for 2 years. Now, Ed was an interesting man. He taught me bullfighting. That was his favorite idea. He was also an English major at Boston College, as well as their quarterback. And he wrote a book for Frank Leahy, and he said, never gave me a byline. And he wrote the whole book. Now, what he taught me was not just motivation. He was very precise. He taught me the intricacies of football. Back in the 80s, I think it was, we were running an offense that the pros you see today. You see, Ed used to be on the phone with Dallas football coach because they were good friends ever since they were in the Super Bowl together. Well, it wasn't the Super Bowl back then. It was the NFL championship. And so he taught me the intricacies of the sport. You see, it's very precise and you have to know it. So the two of them together, well, the three of them, my father giving me discipline, less in discipline, and Ed also in discipline. But more importantly, it started with the discipline, it went to the motivation. Then it went to the intricacies of how it is done. Quite an experience from mentors. Why I'm glad about this Pathways is they're not asking me to go out and be a mentor. I've done that. If you remember Willie Daniels, I think we were all mentored to Willie Daniels, not to mention Dave Licata, but really Dave had it all put together anyway, and he just took a few little things I mentioned and ran with it. He's the reason we have such a big growth today in our club. It's fun. Now, I do have to mention my fourth mentor, Tom Moran's godmother, my mother. Because without your mother, they pull it all together. They pull it all together. They're there, the three hard guys that are teaching you all the intricacies, all the discipline, all that. Your mother has to be there to analyze it and to bring the whole thing together. And she will look at the good side. She'll look at the bad side. She'll agree with you. She'll disagree with you. But she brings it all together. And that's the importance of mentoring. You bring everything together. Now, as I said, tomorrow's haircut day. Now, I'm supposed to be standing up, sitting farther away, all these things. Didn't have time. But let me tell you, if you want to get a picture of Wolfman, this is the last time on Toastmasters for a while, because tomorrow morning, I have an appointment at 10 o'clock with Bob Eady at the barbershop in Newfane. So next week, I'll be transitioning back to my old self, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Phil. We'll miss the look. Our third speaker today is Mr. Marty Johnson, and he'll be evaluated by Sylvia Baptiste. Sylvia.
Morning, everyone. This morning I have the pleasure of evaluating Marty, and I have not evaluated anyone quite a while, so this will be a treat. And Marty's not going to make it simple for me, as I can see. Marty is asked to deliver an interesting speech in which complex information is conveyed to a non-technical audience. There I am. I'm non-technical. Speech should entertain our questions as they arise during the presentation, and he'll be using a PowerPoint presentation. The time is between 10 and 12 minutes. Do you have the title?
I do.
Okay.
Thanks, Sylvia. Marty Johnson. The title is Simplifying the Toastmaster International website. Mr. Johnson.
How many of you like doing things that you know how to do? Yes. We all, well, many of us know Facebook. We know sports, like the theme of our meeting today. Thank you, Larry. Yes, we know the process, for example, cooking that perfect dish of pasta or your favorite meal. We know what we need to get from here to here, the desired result. How many of you would like to do things that you don't know how to do or you don't have much experience doing? Well, that's where I'm going this morning, fellow Toastmasters. I am going to simplify the Toastmasters International website. When some of you hear that, you might shun and you say, no, I don't need any more websites. I don't need any more passwords. I don't need to do it. I'm just working on my projects. Time out. I would like to simplify the Toastmasters website. I have a couple slides that I'm going to show to summarize what I'm talking about. And I would first just like to summarize the points that I'm going to make. With the TI website, there are different things that you can do, and I picked a couple that I think will benefit the membership. Some of you are familiar and some of you aren't from prior conversations. On the TI website, once you're logged in, you can check there's a button for international news. And it talks about COVID-19, but we're not going to go there because we're going to stay upbeat during the rest of the meeting. The second thing, as Larry mentioned, and he showed, you can track the club progress, how the club is doing on their educational goals, how they're doing on their membership goals, their administration goals. And the third thing, can track the individual progress for members that are working on their speech projects. And one of the last things, which I found interesting most recently, there's a FAQ, or frequent asked questions button. And Toastmasters International gives answers to those frequent asked questions. And believe me, there are many of them that have surfaced with the virus and the pandemic that we're going through. At this point, I'm going to share my screen with you. Just bear with me for 1 second. Okay. Okay, this is the the PowerPoint that I have, and I will show you what I'm talking about. So simplifying the Toastmaster International website, as I mentioned, logging into the TI website. Once you type in, you can Google Toastmasters International, and I'll actually walk you through this. I have a username and password because I've used it before, and it is right here. Right here, so you can just type in Toastmasters International. Here it is right here. It brings up the screen, Toastmasters International. You can click on the Toastmaster International button, and you can press login at the top in the center, login. And then I use my email address, and it's mjj.hnston. And then username and password, and you can create this. It's very easy. And what I would suggest actually right now, if you don't have a Toastmaster International website or password, get a pen, a notepad, piece of paper, and create it right now. Write down what you think you want it to be and write it down. That's a good start. And I'm going to, okay. Once I'm logged in, I'm going to show you something, what Larry was talking about and how you can use it. I like to go to Leadership Central, and this will hit home with a lot of you. It's called the Distinguished Performance Report right here. This report, it's all by district. And if you go up towards the top left, I'm going to type in District 65. That's our district that we're in, District 65. District 65. There's a wealth of information, but I'm going to keep it simple due to the time constraints. And I'm going to arrow down a little bit, and you can see our AM Lockport Club right here. And I'll just briefly show you a couple things. The first thing that I mentioned that we can track are the COVID information about the international news was on the homepage. But we're going to tracking the club progress. And as you can see, and as Larry already mentioned, wow, look at that. Look at all the goal. The goal is this column. And this is what we've earned to date. So every one of you that are here today have helped reach these goals that are in that second column. And what an amazing feat. I think AM Lockport is a quintessential club. It's how much better could you get? We've achieved 9 out of 10 goals. Outstanding. So that's the club. It shows the club progress, how we're doing. And the other thing, you can track your individual progress. I'm going to just slide down on the left-hand column. You can see that there's a spot for daily reports over here. And I'm going to use the mouse here under daily reports. And daily reports will bring up things that have been processed, things that are processed each business day. For example, as a club officer, we can track, let me see, July club officer list. So the person that's responsible for that is the secretary, and the secretary is providing wonderful leadership. And as you can see, it's not that hard to maneuver through here. Through trial and error, you're not going to blow up the computer. And our club is 5460. Our club is right here, 5460. And that's our AM Lockport. And the secretary sent in our club officer list. That's one of their responsibilities. One of the other things, I'm going to go back. One of the other things that they can do is the treasurer has the leadership to send in the club officer dues on time. So that's something that the treasurer can do. So as a member, you, and as an officer, you have the ability to use this simplified version of the TI website. I hope you've all written down your username and or password that you want to use. And if you currently are not on the website or signed up, you can sign up at your convenience. I would definitely recommend it. With the TI website, I personally feel that your momentum, the momentum that you gain from the Toastmasters program, it's important for your growth. Fellow Toastmasters, let's see, we talked about the uses of the TI website. And lastly, I would like to propose that you either create a user ID and a password if you don't have one, and use it. As I said, the momentum that you gain from each meeting, each project you give, each role you hold, is momentum carrying you towards your next goal. Fellow Toastmasters, you've seen some examples of how something complicated, like a huge international website, can be simplified. I encourage each of you to frequent the site and check on your status, your educational status that you're working on, making sure that you're taking care of any officer roles that you have in administrative work. Keep up with the frequently asked questions. It's very educational. Fellow Toastmasters, I know that you will like the simplified version of the TI website. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marty. Before I have the timer report, I just want to remind everybody that if you have a minute, if you could just using the chat, send little notes to each of the speakers to give them some ways to improve and also some of the things they did very well. So I find that that's an easy thing to do. I try to do it whenever I'm not the Toastmaster. So if you get a minute, if you could do that. And Mr. Timer, could we have a timer's report?
Absolutely, you may. I had the pleasure of timing 3 of the best dedicated and committed members of this club. Larry, 5 to 7 minute speech, did slightly over 9 minutes, 15 seconds. Phil, probably one of the charter member, talked about his mentors. He spoke for 5 to 7 at exactly 7 minutes, 28 seconds. Marty Johnson, simplifying the Toastmaster website. His speech was 10 to 12 minutes and he spoke for 10 minutes and 10 seconds exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Now, so I'm assuming everybody qualified. Is that correct?
Yes, everybody qualified.
Thanks.
And they also used the word.
Ah, so there's no need for a wordmaster report.
Sorry.
no, that's good. Cover all the bases. So when you get a minute, you'll see on your screen again that there'll be a voting ticket. So please select the person you think did the best job with their speech and submit that to our president for evaluation. Let's move right into the evaluation section of our meeting. Our first evaluator is Dr. Stevens, and he'll be evaluating Larry McKenzie. Dr. Stevens.
Morning again, fellow Toastmasters and our guests from afar. I had the pleasure today of evaluating our club president, Larry McKenzie. Was he excited or what? He definitely was, in my opinion. He started off with some good vocal variety. Excitement is infectious. Positivity is infectious. He has that in spades. It was obvious for all of us to hear. I was impressed with our fellow Toastmasters. They knew our history. They knew the year we started, the date we started, and even who our first ETM was before Larry even showed it. That's pretty cool. I wish I knew it myself. I need to put that in my memory banks. And we also have another founding Toastmaster of the group as well, which is David Cotta, who is amongst us, in addition to Edna. I love the journey down memory lane, all the use of visuals, the pictures. They speak 1,000 words. You have to know your history. If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it, if it is a bad thing. We know it, and we're going to repeat it in this case, because it's a good history. I love the fact that you also included a few of our Toastmasters in your speech. That really engages us. So as you mentioned, different people that spoke about different topics, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. So people get engaged that way. That's a nice trick to keep the audience engaged, to keep the boredom factor down. Some people say that we should have a ton of gestures in our speeches. I think in AM Lockport, we do say that generally, but not always appropriate for all speeches. So in this case, I don't think we needed a lot of gestures in his speech. And there are people in other clubs that will criticize you for doing too many gestures or choreographing it out too much. So it's got to be the right balance. I thought he had that today. Some improvements I would like to see. I would like to see him talk about some aspect of his leadership journey with his leadership team, and maybe an anecdote of something that they had overcome. Zoom is definitely something they overcame. something they weren't expecting to deal with. Some positives of his officers, that they did a special thing. I know for one, Eric did a great job, and also Larry and Garth for running the club. So those things, how many times were in the newspaper? 4 times, possibly. So other good things Larry did. He did a nice summary of the club's accomplishments, and he made us feel good about everything for sure. His speech was informational in nature, and we have 3 DTMs. That is an impressive feat. I want to know when the party is happening. It's got to happen, COVID or not. Putting a plug out there, social coordinator, Kate Banks possibly, or the new leadership, Eric. Make it happen, please. And I would say for sure, AM Lockport is definitely worth getting up for. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Our second evaluator, evaluating Phil Russell, is Mr. Dave Licata. Mr. Licata.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially our international guests. I hope our international guests have noticed sometimes the background. Some people are using Niagara Falls. Lockport is 19 miles from Niagara Falls. Show up for a meeting. We're done at 8:30, and you will get the whirlwind tour. But now, on to Phil Russell. I've only known Phil for 57 years. So this is a great speech from my point of view. He was very clever about roping in the audience this morning. And he used a little gag, and self-effacing humor is a good trick to bring the audience in. And he certainly did that with his scary visage. I can't wait to see him next Wednesday when we golf, because all that hair will be gone, because he was starting to scare me, Mr. Toastmaster. He really was. So he's friendly, he's warm, and he's the quintessential Phil Russell. Now, where could he improve? Phil was kind enough to jump in with both feet this morning and fill in, and he said, I'll take that open spot. So we're grateful for that. But Phil, you have to remember now, this club is international, and you could have done some more background than you did. But you had to find a balance. So in the future, yes, a little bit more background. That would be great for everybody. But sometimes when you got into talking about your connections with the pro coaches, you should have just said, well, I knew this gentleman because for our international guests and many of the people in AM Lockport, that's a little tough to wrap your mind around. So, you know, you said DeSales was small. Our high school was DeSales Catholic High School. It was small, but you didn't specify, which was sometimes we were indeed small physically, but we were always small in enrollment. But Phil, what I loved about the speech is that you mentioned me twice. That was great. You and I have relatives in common, so it was like you were talking to me particularly. And this speech, Phil, for me was like old home week because we go back so far. But I want to point out that you entertained us and you remind us how important mentoring is. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Mr. Licata. Our third evaluator, evaluating Marty Johnson, is Sylvia Baptiste. Sylvia.
Hi. Oh, this was a challenge for me. I'm trying to watch the presentation and listen at the same time. I have that problem, like chewing gum and walking. It's one of those things. Not very coordinated. And this was one of the difficult evaluations, I would think, speeches that Marty, you have done in a while. And you did a great job with it. You started off with asking a question, drawing people in. That was good to hear. Good information regarding the website, the question and answer section, for example. I think you had a little bit of a challenge, which, like I said, I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. So moving around a little bit, trying to get everyone, getting the slide presentation to move more smoothly, I think is what I'm trying to say. The other thing is, and I could be at fault of this too, I should have asked you, was I supposed to tell people at the beginning of the presentation to ask questions during your presentation to draw them in? I was, or you were, one of us should have said that. And, you know, maybe we'll communicate better next time on that one. That was the biggest thing I think I would change, because they were supposed to ask questions, and then that would have ate more of your time because you were only 10 minutes. You had a couple minutes left over to go in. But the PowerPoint was great. I'm a visual person, so I have to see things, how to move around. The only thing I have used on that website is the pathways. So now I could go in and move around a little freely. And the vocal, everything was clear. And I enjoyed your speech. I'm glad you did it, because now I'm not so afraid to move around in that website. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Mr. Timer, could we have a timer's report, please?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. I believe all three evaluators were within their time. Gerald was 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Dave, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. Sylvia at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And they all qualify within the time of 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. So you'll see on your screen a ballot. Please choose the evaluator you thought did the best job and submit your vote. This is really handy. Again, some of the positives of Zoom, some of the things that kind of makes the meeting flow a little better. So we're at that point in the meeting where, as the Toastmaster, I have two options. I can either continue to drone on, or I can pass the torch to the general evaluator. And Mike, are you ready to take over, or would you rather have me call for reports?
Do you want to give I can give my report first, and then, because I don't have the agenda in front of me, I'd rather have you call for reports.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop. Excuse me, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our evaluators this morning. This morning, Larry, I think our evaluators did a great job of the sandwich approach. For the newer Toastmasters and our guests, our sandwich approach is when we come to sandwich approach and evaluations means we give, to start our evaluation, we give the positives. The meat of the evaluation has to do with a lot of focusing on what the speaker could have done better. And then we always try to finish with positives on AM Lockport. I think that's what helps our members grow. And I think that we had two experienced evaluators, and Sylvia is going to learn and get to that point of becoming more comfortable with evaluations. I know when I started in this club, evaluations were one of the things I had to get used to. It's hard to be critical of people and provide that constructive criticism. But I think all of our evaluators did a great job. All of our speakers did a great job this morning. I enjoy this use of technology that we're able to do through Zoom that we can't do in our normal settings. So I think that I give credit to two of our speakers today for taking advantage of the technology. I think, Larry, I have to give you a lot of credit. You this week as well as Toastmasters. I know that you volunteered this week because the schedule kind of got mixed up with creating the schedule for the next couple of months with everything that was going on. So I want to thank you for volunteering. I want to give credit to everyone else that volunteered. You took care of most of the jobs as everyone signed in this morning. So I think that coming from where you're coming from, you did a good job. I do like the theme. Unfortunately, I'm right there with you when it comes to the quintessential sports, and sports was always a distraction. During all the times you talked about this morning, sports has always been a distraction, and we don't have that now, which is probably why a lot of people miss it more. But overall, I think you did a great job this morning. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us. Different times of the world, I think it truly is impressive how we are able to bring so many different people in from all over the world, and that's a credit to Larry and Eric and our social media department. So congrats, that's what I'll say, congrats to them. And I will turn our meeting back over to Larry for our reports.
Thanks, Mike. Great job. It's a great job because you didn't criticize me too much, so really good job. There's two members that have been patiently watching this entire meeting, and we don't normally introduce, but I know Celia Marcy is here, and where is he? Charlie Deacon is there somewhere too. I saw his picture. So thanks for you guys for showing up, even though you didn't have a job. Appreciate it. All right, let's call for reports. And if we have time at the end, I'll give you some more sports, maybe a way to cure your angst about not having sports, but we are running kind of short of time. So our first report person will be the Master. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. Before I give my report, being the quintessential sports fan, I cannot let this meeting theme pass without some commentary. I am missing sports terribly. As I have shared previously, I am a very big baseball fan, very big New York Mets fan. And for me, baseball is the sound of summer. The game would normally be on every night. I would have it on even if it was just background noise. So for me, it's not summer until we get baseball back. Additionally, I have to say this. If you want to make some money this year, place your bets on the Mets to win the World Series, and here's why. As Larry said, the season will be truncated to just 60 games. That means there will be asterisks attached to the season galore. So you know for sure that it would be just like the Mets to win the World Series in a season like this and then have an asterisk slapped to it. Now, on to the report. Fellow Toastmasters, look at this. There is a lot here. A lot of ahs, a lot of ums, a lot of so's, and it's too bad that Edna Stubbs isn't here because she would be so very proud of me for being a very good so master. But here we go. Alexis, 2 ahs, 1 Tom Moran, 1. Mokles, 3. Carol, 4. Kate, 1 so, 2 likes, and 1 ah. Gerald, 1 ah, 1 1 so. Linda, 1 ah. Beth, 2. Jay had 3. Larry McKenzie, 2 so's, forgive me, correction, 3 so's, 2 ahs. Dave Licata. Let me preface this by saying we tease the ones we love. And it's taken you about 3 months to finally master the mute button, and I am so very proud of you for that. However, I think you must have tripped over that mute button when you began to introduce your speaker, because right out of the gate, you had 3 ahs in 1 sentence, very uncharacteristic, but only 1 the rest of the way, so nice recovery. Phil Russell, 2 so's, which you self-reported, kudos to you, and 1 you know. Sylvia had more than 5, unfortunately. Marty, 2, with multiple restarts. Mike had 1 and multiple restarts. Forgive me for being so hardline today, fellow Toastmasters. I guess the caffeine was particularly effective. Mr. Toastmaster.
I would say the caffeine was very effective. You started calling me out before the meeting even started. All right, great job, Mark. Our grammarian is Mr. Tom Moran. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I have a report as well. I'm going to have to look at it periodically. Okay, I got that. Now, our grammar this morning was impeccable. I found that the word of the day, quintessential by Kate, was so apropos for this meeting. It worked really well. No one seemed to struggle with it. They didn't try to fit it in where it didn't belong. It flowed very smoothly. So I'm giving Kate a grammarian award today for the word of the day. Larry started out with it so interesting. I think he used this word, iteration. Now, I've heard that said applied to mathematics and those sorts of things, but not to the subject matter that he was talking about. And I thought that was a very good use of your poetic license. Larry also talked about droning on, which I hope not to do. Now, Jen, pedestrianism. A lot of people don't know that this is actually a sport. It used to be in the Olympics, you're correct. And I've tried it myself, but I don't have the hips for it, so I can't do it. So I really love that you introduced us to something new this morning, pedestrianism. Now, I have to give, as far as an award today, I have to give the overall grammarian award to Dr. Gerald Stevens. It was just so nicely, where everything, I couldn't write everything down, so I thought I would just give him the award outright. It had very nice vocabulary. Linda used something interesting when she spoke in table topics. Linda said, "Ain't nothing happening." Now, it's not that she doesn't know that this is not correct English, but she used it in that particular sentence to emphasize her disappointment or her confusion over the sports talk that we were having this morning. I like the let's see what Larry used this. I didn't write Larry the last name. So one of the Larrys said, we went on a journey this morning. Oh, that was our president, Larry McKenzie. We went on a journey this morning, and I thought that was very nicely phrased. Went on a journey. That was a good visual. Phil used the word intricacy. I like the word, but I think he used it a lot. I think if I were an intricacy master, I would have counted at least 5. So I like the word, but you can often use a word too much. And Phil confused me with something. I've always had a visual of a chicken with its head cut off, not a cat. I don't know what the cat thing is. Perhaps he doesn't like cats. I don't know. And this was his way of expressing himself. Marty, momentum. I like that. It pushed it right along. David Licata, find a balance. That was very nicely done, David. And I think you did. Michael used the word misinformed. I kind of like that when we use a word that's appropriate in a sentence when we're giving a description. So that's my report, Mr. Toastmaster, but I'd also like to mention with regards to sports, for those people who are missing sports, I found something on one of the stations that is incredibly athletic, and you would be surprised. There's a time limit, and these people are under pressure to do things within a certain time frame, and it gets pretty intense. When I'm watching it, I actually break into a sweat sometimes. So if you have a chance, on the Food Network, there's a program called Chopped, and I've been watching that for the past month. So that's my take on the sports. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Our word master is Beth Banks. Mrs. Banks. Oh, is she here?
Sorry.
Oh, there she is.
I think most people did a good word trying to use the word quintessential. Some used it more than others, but I think overall we had a very good day using the word at least once in speeches and evaluations. So good job, Kate, in choosing the word for me. I appreciate it. I am here anyway. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Gesture Master, Carol Ann Halsted. Carol Ann. Oh, I think she froze up on us here. Oh, yeah, I think she said in chat she lost the connection. So if she pops back in, we'll get her at the very end. Our last reporter is our quiz master, Jen Zappa. How'd we do, Jen?
Hello. I don't know. How did we do? I guess we'll find out. I am going to keep this short because I know we're running over time today. So what sports did Tracy mention as Zoomable?
Oh. Gymnastics.
Karate.
Gymnastics and karate, yes.
Karate, yeah.
And now we have guests from around the world. What other countries joined us today?
Australia, India.
India and Australia.
And Germany.
Germany, Australia, and India. That's all I caught. So if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. But how many
Wheatfield.
What?
Wheatfield.
Countries, I said. Wheatfield's not a country. All right.
Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that.
Our guest, Wheatfield is a nearby town.
How many DTMs do we have at AM Lockport now?
13.
13. Lucky
All right.
13.
There were more questions, but I'm gonna leave it at that for now. So stay after if you'd like a secondary quiz.
Thanks, Jen. I know we're a little bit over time, so I'm gonna just right away turn the meeting back over to our president, Mr. McKenzie, to close everything out. Larry.
Oh,
Thank you very
I
much.
got connected again.
Oh, there she is.
Carol, would you like to give your gesture report?
Yeah, I will quickly. Kate always has very good hand gestures. I know Linda had good hand and facial gestures, as did Tracy. And of course, Larry, you always have very excellent hand gestures. And Phil.
Oh, she froze.
We lost her.
Dear.
She'll stay in post toasties.
Yeah, we'll see her
And
in
at least
post.
those of us who stay can
All right.
hear.
Well, we will see her in post toasties. Once again, Larry, great theme today. Thank you for hosting and being our Toastmaster. Next week's Toastmaster will be Eric. We'll also have our installation of our new officers. Before I adjourn the meeting, I know we're running a few minutes late, but I would be remiss if I did not thank our guests for joining us. And I believe we still have a couple of the guests that are still on with us. Linda B., would you like to comment in regards to our meeting today? And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And thanks to whoever posted the announcement up on the Toastmasters International page. It does help, definitely, so that more people around the world can tune in and enjoy. I've been online for almost 3 years, so it's really great to trip around the world. I have 3 mentees at the moment, one in Chile, one in Rwanda, one in Malta, and thoroughly enjoy the international exposure. Thank you again. Great meeting. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Linda. And from a fellow Canadian, I appreciate you joining us also from down under. Also with us today is Jith. Jith, would you like to comment in regards to the meeting today? Now, Jith is from India.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I'm from India. And first of all, thank you very much, Mr. McKenzie, for giving me a opportunity to meet you all. So this is a kind of great opportunity for me. I'm new to this Toastmasters, but I don't know how to speak at all. That is the one thing. Another thing is like, yeah, another thing is like, due to this online meeting, I can go and meet different people, different culture, different way of expressing things. That all I really admire. And it's very well conducted meeting, and it is very much time boxed. I got a lot of things to take back home. So thank you very much. Give me an opportunity to attend this, and that's all.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning from across the world. We also have another member joining us, or a guest, and that guest is Craig Curtis from District 95. Craig, how did you enjoy our meeting?
I enjoyed it very well. I sort of get nervous when everybody always calls me by my first and last name. I think I'm in trouble. I don't know why people just don't say Craig. They always say Craig Curtis. I always have to tell people, I feel like I'm in trouble. I got in trouble a lot as a little kid. But thank you very much. I actually found out, Larry, you're the one who posted about the meeting for today. Thank you very much for that. Yes, this has been a wonderful meeting today. I'm very surprised, though, to hear people say that this is their first time doing a Toastmasters online. I've actually been doing this since March 13th. I've been to over 60 plus clubs, Singapore, Korea, Beijing, all over Europe, back to the United States and Canada, as well as I wanted to go to New Zealand and Australia, which I have been as well. So yes, definitely enjoy this online experience. And also, you can also see the world champions online give presentations as well, and you can learn a lot of tips. One tip I will leave for you, look directly at the camera. Do not look down at all the activity down below. Look directly at the camera. Thank you very much for having me today, Larry. I have enjoyed it.
Greg, thank you for your enthusiasm and thank you for joining us. And I'm going to piggyback on what Craig said. I have enjoyed so much visiting the different clubs from around the world. And if you are from another club and you're still with us, please put the time and when your club is meeting in the chat, and I would be happy to share that with our members also. This will actually conclude my presidency for this year, and this is my last meeting as president. Next week, we will have our new president and then our new slate of officers that will take place, and Eric will be our new president as of next week. We will have an installation of officers. One of the things that I want to thank everyone for this week was we left the schedule blank and we asked everyone to step up and take a role. Thank you for helping our Toastmaster Larry with that. We also have next week some open roles until Kate, our new VP of Ed, starts formulating our new agenda for the next couple months. We want to thank everyone. We will be doing post-toasties, which is basically once we adjourn the meeting, feel free to stay online with us if you wish, and we do an open chat with that. So as your president, there's another so. As your president, I officially will close the meeting for my final term as president with my official gavel, the pen. Meeting is now officially adjourned. Thank you for joining us.
Who were the winners,
Oh,
Larry?
wait, it's not officially adjourned. I opened the meeting back.
What are you, new?
I was so excited that Craig said, look into the camera. I forgot to look at my notes. All right, so here we go. We have ribbon winners today. I'm so excited to announce our ribbon winners today. Table Topics, our guest from Down Under, Linda from Australia was our Table Topics winner. Linda, congratulations and thank you for joining us. You are our Table Topics winner. Our top evaluator today, Dr. Gerald Stevens. Dr. Stevens, evaluator. Now, for speaker of the day, we did have one thing that I have to mention. My speech was 5 to 7 minutes. I did go 9 minutes. I went over. So I am officially disqualifying myself from the voting. Our speaker of the day, Phil Russell. Phil Russell is the speaker of the day.
Thank God.
Thanks for
Get a haircut.
Shave and a haircut.
Too big.
Last thing I have to say before I adjourn the meeting. As most presidents, if you notice, that take office that run the country throughout their term of 4 years, mine was only 1 year, you notice at the beginning they all have dark hair, and when they leave, their hair is gray. Well, I must say, when I started last year in June, my hair was a little darker than it is, and since then, I've turned completely white, and I've grown this beard, which I don't know, but I'm going to be checking my list to see who's been naughty or nice and we'll check it out later. Thank you. Meeting is officially adjourned. Stay on for Post Toasties.